This is Hannibal here from The Hannibal TV on YouTube. Today we have none other than multiple time. I guess you've held the Intercontinental Champion, the Tag Team Championships, 1, 2, 3 kid. You've been in AWA, you held the titles there, WCW, WWE, future Hall of Famer for whenever Sean decides to go in for the third time. The man known as the Wolf, Marty Jannetty. How are you doing today, sir?
We hanging in there, man. Hanging in there like swimwear. But you were saying about the championships, and it all sounded good. Only thing is in WCW, they wouldn't dare let me get near one. They would just like dangle it like, and I was like, well, what do I need to do? I'm not going to blow nobody. If that's a requirement, I'm out. And they wanted to kind of, this was back in '98. They kind of wanted you. There was so many cliques. There were so many, you either were part of Kevin Sullivan's group, Kevin Nash's group, Ric Flair's group, Dusty Rhodes' group, Eric Bischoff's group. I mean, if you wasn't in one of them, you had no chance. If you were flying solo, without all that, which I've never been into that shit. But yeah, man, you didn't. At least I didn't, because they kept pressuring me like join one of them, join Hulk. I think Hulk had. It was crazy. It's like I got to be in one of these little cliques to entertain the crowd. But yeah, man, that was craziness there. In WWE or WWF at the time when I had left, the only clique was like, Hunter and Scott and Kevin and all them. That was it. One clique. We got WCW, a bunch of them. Like, damn. Shit, how many can there be?
Yeah. By the way, we were talking the last time, we were talking about Jake Roberts. He's rarely used, and we all love him back in AEW. I actually looked it up since I talked to you. He makes over $600,000 a year right now. Can you imagine how nice that would be?
Doing what? Just showing up?
I don't know what the fuck. I don't think he even has to show up. I don't know when the last time they've actually used him.
It must be retro pay for all them years that you did so well. We'll pay you now because they, probably didn't necessarily pay him so good. Him and I traveled a lot together. And yeah, he was happy. I mean, he wasn't miserable, but it wasn't exactly where he wanted. The level as far as pay, where he would like to have been, like where some of the other guys were, and he wasn't. It's like shit. You're doing better than Jake. Come on, man. Hey, I'll never forget the day we was riding, and he said, "I got a meeting with Vince. This ought to be interesting." And it was TV taping. That's when Vince would see all the guys back then. And he went and we did our thing at TV, which it's long, hectic days. And we got in the car that night to leave, and he got quiet. He was so quiet. They're like, "What's up, bro? What's going on? Oh, how'd that meeting go?" And he said, sat down there, and Vince looked me in the eye and goes, "Jake, what do you do with a good book when you're through reading it?" That's how he told Jake that, I'm going to back off on you. I'm going to put you up on the shelf. And, Jake actually handled it well, better than I would have. I was like, "Goddamn, read it again, bitch."
Yeah. I mean, he's one guy. I don't have a problem with them paying him $600,000 because he earned it. It's some
Where'd
of these.
you hear that though?
It's on the internet. It's reported. It's being reported. He's been in there I don't know if he's made it. He's in his 6th year now. I don't know if he's been making that all 6 years. But supposedly Jim Ross is in that same category. I think they use Jim Ross more than Jake, but he's in that category.
Well, yeah, because Jim does all the administrative work and shit, or a lot of it, And I guess I could see that. Like I say, I think it might be like retro pay. Like, look, man, they didn't pay you right the first time you came through, so we're gonna make up for it. I mean, outside of that, wow. Unless the pay structure has changed
It has.
dramatically.
MJF made over 5 million last year for wrestling
A
4 times.
million?
For wrestling 4 times. I'm not kidding. 4 fucking times.
Where do I put my notice in? I quit. I
Yeah,
quit.
I mean, honestly, I mean, he's
Doesn't
one of their better guys, but give me a break.
yeah. Fuck. Over a million a match.
Yeah,
What it amounts to. Nothing against
Ryan.
him. I don't think I really know him. I mean, of course, from off TV, but I don't know if we ran across each other. I just don't remember, whatever. But I mean, he seems a good enough guy. I don't know, and he's very, very talented.
Two
But
guys you
damn,
do know that they're over 6 million a year. I would say they're more deserving of it. They had more matches for their money, but the Young
Chris
Bucks, I know.
Jericho. Oh, okay.
No, the Young Bucks. I mean, Jericho's in that category too, but the Young Bucks are the highest paid tag team of all time. I don't know.
Really?
Do you know that? They're the highest
Uh-uh.
paid tag team of all time.
Well, I'm happy for them because those were boys. I love them to death. Uh, yeah, that's wild, and I'm glad for them because I don't know. I guess I'm still kind of old. I didn't get younger over the last few years. WWE was always the destination. No matter where you were, that's where you wanted to end up. But with the money they're making now, the hell with it. I ain't gotta get there now.
Yeah, I
But
think it's just because there's the competition between the two companies, so they'll pay people just so they don't go to WWE. And I mean, there's almost 200 wrestlers under contract with AEW, and there's
yeah,
2 television shows. Just do the
man,
math there. How many times are you going to wrestle? And there's no house shows.
that's craziness right there.
Yeah.
I guess they're doing good. I mean, because
Yeah.
I know they got a ton of money, backing them. But yeah, that's worse than Bischoff did with WCW when Ted Turner said, here's the bank account. Do what you're gonna do with it. Wow.
Yeah, I think actually Tony Khan has put them to shame. Someone's asking here, they're tipping $4.99 and they're saying, did Brett complain about losing the tag titles to you and Sean? Is that the real reason
No, not
why
at
they took
all.
the title?
No. There's actually a couple reasons possible. I don't know which one is true. I know that Sean and I got in a little. No, we didn't get in no trouble, but after we had won the title, and remember, it's title, tag team title, not titles. It's 2 belts, but it's 1 title. Man, it's a pet peeve of mine. I hear it all the time. I just heard it last night. I was watching. What was last night? Raw, Monday night, and they said it a couple of times with the girls' matches. The tag team titles. It's a title. It's 1. But anyway, we had a rough little plane trip. Had a problem guy on there. We took things into our own hands, and it turned out disastrous to the point where it got back to Vince that this guy was flying from Houston or Dallas to Corpus Christi, short little 30-minute flight. And the guy, he caught hell. He come on the plane being all loud and boisterous and hollering at the wrestlers. The flight was like half full or less. And he's looking at, fuck all these damn wrestlers. Boy, I don't want to sit next to no damn wrestler. We're all looking at each other like, what did we do? He was just hammered when he came on. Big dude, man. But he kept on and on and on and on. And finally, somebody had to do something. And when he found out somebody shit on him, literally shit on the back of his, where he was sitting, and he grinded it in. He got shit all over his
Was it
shirt.
Kurt Hennig by any chance?
It was this tag team that But word got, well, that night at the arena, we were told to, hey, if you hear any loud pops, get down. George Animal Steel was the agent. And he was like, guys, if you hear anything, get down low. Get down low. That guy, the incident on the plane today, he's the leader of a biker gang here in Corpus Christi. That's great. He escaped from prison or jail or some shit. And he was one of the FBI's top 10 wanted. I mean, ain't that just gat luck right there? You end up getting in this little. To me and Sean, we were just playing, but to him, he took it serious. But we get into this little thing with him, and he just happens to be that guy, the leader of a biker gang, escaped from jail, top 10 most wanted. Shit. So Vince actually called. That happened over the weekend. Sean and I had defended the tag title in Houston, Dallas, and Corpus Christi after had won it. I think it was on Saturday night main event. But Vince gave me a call Monday or Tuesday, whenever was the first day home off the road. Vince calls me and he's like, Marty, I think we're going to back off the title belts for a little bit. And I'm like, what? What's going on? He goes, well, we just think we should go a different direction right now. That's what I was told directly from Vince. So for me, knowing what happened that weekend, with that dude is, you got to imagine that scared the shit out of the office. You got a guy, he's the leader of a biker gang who's threatening to come kill all of you.
I think he's online chirping you right now.
Well, what's he do?
He's still alive, I guess.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so that's the best I can tell you from my perspective. I know that shit happened on the plane, and immediately upon getting home, I get a call from Vince, and they just want to go a different direction. And the other thing that was popular, nothing about Brett, to answer that guy's question finally, nothing about Brett. People were saying that it was a dispute with Hannibal Neidhart. With his, he from what's been said, he wanted to keep the title belts or he was leaving. Title belts. It's two belts. It's one title. But so, but Hannibal would have came, me and him were pretty close. He would have came and said, Marty, yes, he's tugging on that beard. Just, Marty, I got to go this route or something. He wouldn't have been all secretive and all that. So, my opinion is what happened on that plane ride.
What do you think about this Ring Boys stuff coming back all these years later?
It's back.
Apparently, they lifted the lawsuit statute of limitation in Maryland, so now there's like 5 of the families of the Ring Boys suing WWE now again for all that stuff that happened with the agents back.
That's crazy. I mean, because you got to go back. That was what in
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, early 90s. You got to go all the way back there for evidence. Shit. How's that going to work? But yeah, I that's the first I heard of that. I know a couple guys are probably going to try to put it in on it. It's like, let me in. I was a ring boy. Because when you do that, you open the door for anybody that was around at the time. Yeah, so I'm not going to say.
How did that work, anyways? They just hired kids. Like it seems so crazy.
They all were young. I mean, back then, in the 90s, early 90s. I guess they probably still are. You got to remember, there's a lot of work to be done when putting a ring up. It's not like you can just snap your fingers and it's up. There's a lot of manual labor put in. So it makes sense you'll get younger kids. But at the same time, you remember Mel Phillips or of him?
I remember Terry Funk the angle he did with Terry Funk beating him up before a match that time.
Oh yeah. Well, Mel, I liked Mel. Not like that, but I mean I liked Mel, and we were buddies. But it was unknown that he liked the young boys. Man, I'm probably getting myself in trouble here, but I don't want to be a witness. Let me see how I can sidetrack that one. It was said that Mel had fun with the little boys, and so Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, he used to be so funny. He'd come, hey, you know what? Because I guess Mel liked feet. Some people are into feet. I don't get that at all. So, but
me neither. I don't
evidently,
understand the attraction there, but yeah.
yeah, with sweaty ass toxins come out of, but it was said around that Mel was a big freak for feet and stuff. He'd always go around. Hey, you heard Mel's favorite food? What? Fritos. and yeah, Mel. I guess he was kind of, from what I know, was pointed out during that whole lawsuit thing. I'm not sure about that. I'm assuming because it was so much well known that there was a joke. Kurt's got that joke going around. That was kind of funny. Fritos. Fritos.
Yeah, I guess there was all that because Pat Patterson retired for a while, then came back, and Mel left, was brought back and disappeared. Then there was Terry Garvin. What could you tell us about Terry Garvin? Because we rarely hear about him.
One of my favorite people. When I first started in the business, way the hell back in 1984, Kansas City territory. It was still one of the last territories around. Terry Garvin was the booker, and we had a thing, common grounds where we like to rib, pull pranks on, anybody, everybody. And Terry was big into that. So we kind of got that closeness right away, and thank goodness, because I love Terry to death. He never really advanced on me as far as that. And I would see him in the clubs. We'd go out when we were on the road for overnight or whatever. He would point out to me and Sean, like, that guy right there, see that kid over there, and it'd be some young boy, like you had to just turn 21, and yeah, let's see what you can do for me. He was trying to get us to hook him up, like, well, man, are you comfortable with that? I'm used to hooking up my guys with girls and stuff like that, but not guy on guy. I don't know how to play that one. But he obviously was, like the boys, the younger boys. And again, like I said, I wasn't comfortable with it. Tried to stay on the outside of it. But Terry, on the outside of that, Terry was fun. I loved him to death. I can't say, but I met his family one time, his wife, and the kids, and they still, hi y'all. We still keep up through Facebook. But yeah, it was yeah. Terry was part of that. Pat, with Pat, I don't know that he necessarily was into the young boys. I think he was just into the young men, the younger guys. Like and in the business. I remember. Okay, wait. Here's a Terry Garvin story, and this is what back again when we were in Kansas City, just starting out in the territory. Terry and I had become real good friends because we was always ribbing everybody and everything. And he came up to me that one time though when Sean was coming up and through. He Marty, he's this new kid, Shawn Michaels. I said, yeah. He goes, can you talk to him? I said, I guess. I mean, what do you mean? And he's like, well, just tell him he ain't really got to do nothing. Just go to this hotel all you got to do is lay down on the bed and take a blowjob. And I'm like, oh, that shouldn't be a problem. He goes, well, it's one of the WWF guys. Like, a guy? He goes, yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm like, oh man, shit. But it was all about Pat Patterson. And that was way back with Sean first. Him and I both were 6 months into the business. And they're already trying to, recruit him for that. Shouldn't have told that. I'm probably in trouble now, but that was in
You're already in
1984.
trouble.
Yeah, I know. Okay, how much further down can I go?
And Pat's dead. Pat's dead.
Yeah, but it's friends around him might not be like Terry Garvin is. He passed away. And,
I think Sylvain Grenier inherited Pat Patterson's money, and he was discovered as a stripper and brought into the WWE by Pat Patterson. He hadn't even wrestled the match.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding about that either.
Wow, it's funny, man. I mean, you hear a lot of things, but then there's a lot of things you don't hear. I didn't know that one. But,
did you ever hear about? And I could play this for you if you've never heard it. Brian Blair claimed that Terry Garvin and Andre the Giant tried to rape Coco Beware. Have you heard this story? Have you heard this story? I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this for you quickly.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, because
I gotta see and hear this.
Yeah, because I don't believe it.
I don't either.
I want your opinion on it. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
Ryan in the back, Coco was in the front seat, and I'm driving. Terry's bisexual. All of a sudden, the boss says, "Coco." He says, "Yeah, boss." He said, "Come here, I want to tell you something." So Coco bends over like this. "Yeah, boss." Andre snatches him in a front face lock. Coco is saying, loosen up, loosen up. Well, he turns his ass backwards, and there's Terry Garvin with his pants down. Terry's cutting a promo on Coco saying, "Oh, man, I love that dog meat, and boy, I'm just going to get some tonight." And the boss is going, he's just laughing. Oh. Terry's got an eruption, and he's slapping the back of Coco's. He's got his, I hear his pants go, and Coco's screaming now for bloody murder. And I hit the brakes and I to pull over, and I hear Coco go, hey! I don't know what happened. No, I don't know what happened. And all of a sudden, I get the car over, and Coco jumps out of the car and he starts running.
Yeah, is that true? Or is
they might have done it ribbing. I mean, doing it like sincerely, genuinely wanting to do that with Coco. Nah, they might have ribbed him, like to scare him. I'll give you an example. Rufus R. Jones, that was Slick's father. Rufus R. Jones, who kind of mentored under a little bit when I first started. He called it Hostcock. How you like this Hostcock? He had hung about that far. That's where it ever got hard. And I can't believe we're talking about this. But he would always rib the new guys into territory when they were coming in. St. Louis Kill Auditorium in particular. One of my buddies who just came into territory, they have individual dressing rooms, a whole bunch of them at the old Kill Auditorium. And he would say, Marty, tell Mike to come in this room. Tell Mike to come in this room. Mike Moran, tell that Mike Moran guys, come on in this room. And I'm like, not knowing what he's going to do, I thought, is he going to take him under his wing like with me? And then told Mike walked in the dressing room, and Rufus shut the door. He's standing there butt ass naked, got his in his hand, and he's swinging it around like a helicopter thing. But it was just ribbing. I mean, he honestly wouldn't do nothing like that. Rufus wouldn't have. So, I mean, it sounds like the same kind of thing right there. They were just ribbing the shit out of Coco. Because, they wouldn't have done nothing.
I was going to ask you, I know you knew Just Incredible. What do you think about how fat he's got lately? What advice would you tell him?
Well, he's gained some weight. I saw him about a year ago. Him and I were pretty good friends. And I was like, how big he's gotten. I mean, but older age does different things to different people. So I just took it as that's what was up. But it was like he always kept in pretty good shape. So it was a little bit sad to see, because like I said, he kept in good shape, and then you see him after I haven't seen him in a while, and it was like, oh no, you want to be able to just go hug and say, I'm sorry that happened, but yeah,
You can't get your arms around him now. That's a bad, sad part.
yeah, it was a year ago, and he was fairly big. I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. If it wouldn't have been for his head sitting on top of all that, I wouldn't have known it was him. He just showed the body. I'm like, who was that?
Yeah. I've had my issues with him over the years. Is there any wrestler you still have heat with, or are you pretty cool with everybody now?
As far as I know, pretty cool with everybody. I always talk about being upset with Paul Lee, just simply because of what happened in Extreme Wrestling. When he had that, this he had written me a bad check and then blamed it on Todd Gordon, and Todd was like the buffer guy. He's the one that catches all the shit, but he's nowhere around. So I mean, or at least when I was there. So I always get on to saying Paul was like, that's the only guy in the business that I've got heat with. I'm hot at. I mean, there the guy is in the China Club one night giving me hits of ecstasy, and then when he starts running this company, he's writing me bad checks. What the shit? And he had a couple opportunities to fix that, and he never did. The only time he did was when they came down to wrestle 3 shows in Florida, and I was living in Orlando. So he called me, yeah, I got the money to take care of that, and then I'll pay. That was the only time he took care of that. It wasn't. I don't have a feeling I wasn't going to get paid if it wouldn't have been for that. But yeah, that's it. All the rest of the guys I love to death. I think they love me to death.
Have you heard in the news today that Vince McMahon might be opening up his own wrestling company? Do you think that would be a good thing for wrestling? I'd have another promotion and maybe something different, because the other two are, I don't know, to an average person, some might say they're stale these days.
Well, I mean, it's good for the boys. There's a third, if there becomes a third option, where to go. But I can't see him starting from ground zero again, starting all over, especially at this stage of his life. I know that's, we used to talk about guys like Vince, like, shit, that's all they want to do is work, 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 work. Well, they get high off that, just like they get a high off going in front of 20,000 screaming people, fans. Vince gets a thrill off working and then seeing what he worked on work, so I mean, but what is it, almost 80, if not 80? You man, just enjoy it now. Call Trump up since they're good friends. Call him up, discuss a few things, and then let it go. Enjoy that. Hell, you're calling the president and giving and getting advice from the president. Shit.
And his wife is on the cabinet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
this time on the Board of Education, I think. But last time it was Small Business Administration. But yeah, she's in there.
as far as you're talking about getting high, when would have been the first time you were exposed to, like, for instance, cocaine? Would that have been in the wrestling business, or was it the 80s and this is something that was around even before you were in wrestling?
No, I mean, I got exposed to it before I ever got in the wrestling business. Not like a lot, but I swear found out and learned about it. As a teenager. It was we partied. Just put it that way.
But everyone in the 80s, it seemed like it was more prevalent than in the 90s.
Well, it was, yeah. I was watching something recently on. I think it was one of the Dark Side series, it's like the Dark Side of the 80s or something like that. And that was a big part of what they were talking about was the cocaine. How it came in the early 80s, it just took over. It was the thing, if you had money, Yeah, which is what brought crack into the picture, because if you had money, if you were, made a little money, you could buy the cocaine and party and enjoy it. But if you were like on the lower card, not making that much money, you couldn't afford it. So they figured out a way with the crack to make it cheaper for everybody. When that epidemic took over, the whole crack thing. But yeah,
What's the
I think
difference
early
of the
80s.
high? What's the difference of the high? I don't know if you've ever done crack, and I haven't. I've
But I've
tried
done
the
never
other,
done.
but what's the difference? Like, obviously, they always say the crack is extremely dangerous. Is that just a crazy? And they say it's more addictive too. Is that just because
Well,
it's cheaper?
yeah, I know it's made. You don't know it can be dangerous because you don't know what it's made out of. They use rat poison in some cases. Whatever kind of product they can throw in and cook down and make it into the rock form. Um, they do that, and it's very just very little cocaine, and when you get a little $20 brick, they call it. Um, this about $5 worth of it's cocaine. The rest is all the shit they throw in and mix with it, and you don't know what that might be. Might have been made in somebody's bathtub. You don't know what the hell you're getting. But as far as the difference, it all started with freebasing, which that was what I got into. Was when you cook it down and all the impurities, all the stuff that's not free, but it's freebase. It's strictly cocaine. You cook off any additives, like if somebody had put some stuff in with it, um, that cooks out and it's pure. That was, and again, though, it was like cooking down cocaine. Again, it was expensive. That's where the crack part came in, where now we'll mix it. Well, look at this. Somebody figured out how to, a combination that made it cheaper. And man, that took over because if you got $5 or $10, you get a little $5 or $10 piece. Go get your little high, and even if you're broke, now you want that next high. So you're looking for a car hubcap or something still, so you can get another hit. But that was the craze of that, and the difference for me between snorting the cocaine and smoking it. When you snort it, a minute or two go by and 3 minutes, and then you start to feel good. When you would smoke it, as soon as you let it out, it's right there. It's already right there. And it's like it numbs the nervous system. So you become weightless. I mean, you just feel like you're walking on air. And if you're injured, that's numbed out, And if you're mentally injured, it's numbed out, So that would been the difference of snorting and smoking. The smoking, it was instant, and for some reason, maybe even a little more euphoric than snorting. But it was highly, people, you say, look, I love this shit. Well, people ain't losing their house and car and wives and kids and life because the shit's bad. It's freaking good. Yeah, that's why it's so dangerous to, never start it, because if you get away with doing a hit, say thank you and run, because it only takes one. You connect one time with it, that's it. You're fucked. You're going to be there for a few years.
Yeah, and it'll destroy it. Where would be the purest you ever had it? I mean, I'm sure people were giving it to you when you were a big wrestling celebrity, but you traveled to a lot of different countries over the years. Where would the best stuff have been, city or
Well,
country?
for me, Vegas, uh, in AWA days, when we would fly out there was this guy that he would meet us. Actually, he'd come out to the airport to greet us, which a lot of fans did. But this guy in particular, all the boys like, oh, there he is, and he had what we called the handshake. You'd go over and shake his hand, and he'd put like a 3 vial or at least a 1 vial of cocaine. The 3 was like an 8 ball. Just in your hand, give it to you, because he's going to be around later tonight. And he really he was such a high level, in the business, in that business. I mean, that, 8-ball didn't mean shit to him. He didn't worry about that. I remember one time Sean and I came to Vegas, and he said, "Hey guys, I got a room for you." Talk about me and Sean, and we're like, no, don't do that. They paid for it already. Showboat, it's already paid for. He goes, I got your room anyway. Just come over there. Let's go over there now. And we're like, okay, whatever. We'll check it out. I was actually thinking, oh, good, he's got a bunch of strippers in there. But when we got there, it was this big table, round table, and right in the middle, he hands the straw. He goes, the straw was a big S, for Sean, and a big M on the table of cocaine. And that was ours to snort up. It's like, man, this is going to take a while. But you know what? I went.
Is this before a match too? So then you're going to the match.
Yeah, it was when we get there. Yeah. Yeah, as soon as you land, goes, went there.
Yeah.
One time he took me to his, I don't know if it was his place or a place he, kept for that very reason. But I was by myself with him. And bro, he walked in, we walked into the place, and he goes, look in that closet right there, Marty. I'm like, for what? I keep hoping strippers, right? Every time it's like a surprise, like, oh, good, strippers. But I open the door, there's bricks, like the 2-kilo bricks, piled up to the ceiling. It scared me so bad. I'm like, brother, get me out of here. We're going to prison forever. Get me out of here, bro. Let's go. No, it's okay. No, it ain't okay. Get me out of here. Damn. Closet was shit stacked. Yeah, he was heavily involved.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't going to worry about giving you an 8-ball. Shit, look at his closet.
So let's say you do the whole M, which could be quite a lot. Let's say you
was a lot.
a gram.
It might not have been as big as I did, but
yeah.
it was still a whole M.
So, I mean, if you're consuming that, then going to AWA, what's it like running into Vern Gagne and then like getting a finish from Vern after you've just done that? That's got to be a surreal experience.
Well, Vern was like when at the Showboat where we did our TV tapings. He the only time you see him was in the dressing room. You see Greg, his son Greg, and the rest of the Gagnes and crew. You would see them throughout the day. Usually, we all wanted to get to the craps table or blackjack table. We always going to be in there playing something. Vern, you would only see him like when you went to the dressing room, and by then, you're preparing for your match, and so it's not a whole lot of hanky panky talking about anything else. Worried about anything else. It's just strictly, just get ready for the match. And him being right there ringside, or right there with you. Whereas when he wasn't there, it was a little more of a relaxed feeling, because he was like, it was uptight. He was losing all of his guys from going to WWF at the time, WWF, and so he was really high strung about it. It seemed like, now I don't know how he was before I got there, so I can't say the big difference. But all the guys that had been there, before I got there, they were all like, wow, he's so high strung, man. Just say yes or no, sir. Which is pretty much what we did. But, it wasn't, there wasn't time to like, what'd you do all day? Did you go to that guy's house?
And as far as what you do on a typical night, Tim Layton is asking, you're already starting partying before the show. It sounds like you get off the airport, somebody's handing you basically 3.5 grams. Where does describe me a day from there? How does a typical day go for you?
We, in Vegas, we would party all week long. Sean and I. We'd always done that. We'd party. We'd find, like when we lived in Minneapolis, which is AWA days, Monday night, it was this particular club. Tuesday was about the most lame of the week. It was couldn't. Chi-Chi's had some kind of something Tuesday nights. Wednesday was hump night everywhere. They had specials Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Friday, Saturday's weekend. Even Sunday was. If back then Eddie Webster's was across the street from where we all lived. It was held the Minnesota Vikings hung out there. So it was always a party. It was always going to be a good time. But we had set that routine down earlier in our career. So we went to Vegas every third week because you would film 3 weeks worth of TV, and then you wouldn't be back for 3 weeks. Same routine over and over. But they, somebody from Germany said them, hey,
You speak German?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch is all I can say.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends over there in Hamburg. But yeah, I love Germany. Been a while. I need to get my butt back over there. Johnny Tiger, what's his name? Something Tiger, Johnny Tiger, would run shows all the time and bring the American boys over. It's been a while. But yeah, just to finish on that with the party, and time we went to Vegas, now all the guys are hyped up and ready to go, right? And Sean and I are like, we're burnt out. We've already hit the party so hard. It's like we'd be shaking each other like, bro, we can't let them down. We can't let them down. And we try to get to the room real quick when we get there and catch a nap. So you're ready, recharge and ready to go. They, that's how our name came about. Midnight Rockers was our name back there. And then, of course, when we went to WWF, had to drop, that name. So we went with the Rockers. But that's how it came about. Was we were out partying in Vegas, and they were tagging Sean and I up, and they wanted us to come up with a name. And, we were thinking it all over. Well, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, he, Leon White, Big Van Vader, he was just getting into the mix. And he had heard, like, you want to hang around the Rockers. That's where the party's going to be, hang around the Rockers, Midnight Rockers. But at the time, we weren't called that. It was Sean and Marty, hang around Sean and Marty. And Leon was hanging around. We were waiting. I mean, we were pacing. And Leon's like, man, I've heard these guys are it. Kurt, talking about Mr. Perfect, telling him, I heard these guys were the ones that hang out at a party. Look at them. And Kurt goes, I don't even worry. They don't even start partying until midnight. And then that Judas Priest song, Living After Midnight, rocking till the came on. It was just like all these things happened at once. Like, we got a name, Midnight Rockers. We got a theme song, but that was what it was like. It was, and once we started, we were there. We'd go in, I don't know, Friday early, and wouldn't leave till Sunday. So you had like 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and then part of Sunday to party and gamble. It was so funny. John Nord in particular would be like borrowing money from us all because he would just go crazy with the gambling, and he'd lose it. Just give me it. I'll get you back. Don't worry about it. And he always would pay you back. He always did. But man,
that's a great impression. That's a great impression. Let's hear that. Let's hear some more of your John Nord impression. That's great.
Marty. Love him to death, man. Still do.
He's great. But he's one of the nicest guys in wrestling.
Yeah. He was a wild man. He was definitely a wild man.
Yeah, he would have been getting those handshakes too, I bet.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He one time, well, like I said, we would leave on Sunday, in the afternoon, but at the latest, a lot of times early morning place. But over Nord, man, he was at the blackjack table. And then we're like, Nord, what time's your flight? Aren't you with us? Because we're, going back to Minneapolis. Go ahead, I changed my flight. Oh, no. And he didn't come back for like 3 days. He didn't. When he came back, he was late for TV, or like, we'd have, I think it was on Wednesdays that would come in to the studio, and do your interviews for that week, like each individual town, like Moorhead, or South Fargo, North Dakota, or this city. That's individually. So just doing a generic one that fits them all. Back then, we would individualize the interview to a city, where we were going to be, and it was a long damn day of tapings. But old Nord, he got back from Vegas and came right to the studio. His hair sprung board out, and he just looked ragged. He looked like he hadn't been in the war for 30 days. But Nord was like the best. He was so funny. I mean, like you said, nicest guy in the world. But it's so crazy. Back then, at least. I don't know if he's calmed down now or what.
Yeah, I mean, I think, sadly, he's not doing the best these days, but he's still as jolly as ever.
Yeah, he left me a message probably about 2 or 3 months ago. Jannetty, what are you doing? You're fucking around and doing things you shouldn't be doing right now. Call your friend Nord. But he sounded like same old crazy Johnny.
Yeah. There would be a good video. Let's get you, me, and John Nord together for a weekend and film it.
I'd love it. Yeah, him and I went through a lot of similar shit with the drinking. He, I had a couple of DUIs here and there in each different states, and he evidently he got got whatever it takes in Minneapolis or Minnesota. I'm sorry. That he had to do a little bit of time, which is the same thing with me. I had to do a little bit of time on my third DUI in Florida, because it becomes the third one's a felony, so you have to do a little time. And so I mean, we had that in common. We loved he loved drinking beer, man. He didn't care for liquor so much, but beer, Jannetty, I just fucking love it. He would tear some beer up.
Someone wants to know, would you rate Greg Gagne for us as a babyface scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the drizzling shits and 10 being the best there was?
Greg was a solid worker, man. He was solid. I mean, how could he not be? He's got Vern on his ass. I mean, because you're the promoter's son, the owner's son. You better not mess up. Now, Greg was pretty good, and he was good. He taught us a lot too. He was a fairly good teacher.
Do you have any Al Snow stories you could share with us? You were everyone forgets about the New Rockers, but I think you're back with them now in some capacity too, aren't you? The new Rockers.
Yeah, the newest Rockers. Yeah, with him and Cal Hero, who's the son of one of my favorite promoters, Dave Hero. Yeah, and we're doing it's like Cal's the youngest. He's still like what 22 or 3 or so. He's the young. Then there's Al, who is like middle of that. And then there's my old ass. So you got like 3 generations of guys tagged out or put all together as the newest Rockers, and it's pretty good. We have fun with it. I hope we get to do more. But yeah, we have a lot of fun with it.
Do you have any sensational Sherry stories you could share with us? And is she one of your? I don't know if it's 5,000 or what. There's different numbers floating around about you.
One.
I'm sure your wife is in the room probably right now.
Well, she already knows all that.
She's great, by the way, if she hears this.
Yeah, she's okay, man. But it's one. You keep going 5 and 10,000. No, for like Flair, I think said 10,000, and when he said that, I'm like, man, stop, bro. Just stop. 1,000 was hard enough. I mean, it's like almost every day on the road. To get that number, but and you're not shooting for numbers. Just how it works on the road. You're out partying, you end up with people. So it was as for me, that's probably damaged my life because it became my life. Every day, instead of waking up and doing like most business people, think like, what should I get accomplished today? what do I do to set up tomorrow? You know, what kind of goals am I trying to reach? What do I need to do in the gym? As soon as I woke up, it's like, you know, the front desk girl looks good. Let me go down there and get a coffee. That's all it just consumed. It took over. And I kind of knew it as it was happening, but couldn't do nothing about it. Yeah, so just because I know it, that look, man, your life is becoming women, and I couldn't find an argument to that for myself. Like, okay, I don't see the problem, but yeah, it is a problem because number one, you don't look at girls the same way. You don't look at them as you should. You know, respectfully. You know, you're looking at them like, yeah, looks like it would be good. You know, it's just the wrong way to look at a girl. But you know, I didn't find that out till last week. So I spent my whole life with the wrong idea. But at the same time, I will say, no regrets. I was having a great time.
Yeah, and I'm jealous of you for that. I will never feel sorry for you. I'm sorry.
I
Any of
try to.
these
I try to at times, like, oh man, look around. It's not the same no more. But then there's a voice in the back of my head saying, shut up, bitch. You lived the life of 10 guys. Just stop. I can't even have a pity party for myself.
And getting back to Sherry, was she one of them?
No, not for me. I had such high respect for her, loved her to death. She was like a big sister, you know. I think we
Look
were
at
about
the
the same
camera when
age.
you say that. I notice your eyes watered.
Well, because I think Sean looked at her a different way, and I don't know. I'll leave that alone. I forgot
Yeah,
this.
there's a recent picture of her wearing Flair's robe with nothing underneath. It's
Uh
just the
oh,
surface.
where'd that come from?
I don't know where these people. Maybe her son leaked it. Who knows?
Is he still alive, Jared? Is he still alive?
I hope so. I hope so.
Oh, I just was watching recent on the dark side, the Sherry story, and man, he got whatever he's got, cancer or whatever. Oh man, because I know him, you know, from when he was healthy and with Sherry and all lively and bubbly, and you know, she loved him to death. And I saw him like that, and I'm like, oh man, it was a heartbreak, you know, to see him like that.
Well,
But
I hope he doesn't see this if he's still alive. And
why
I
would I
don't mean
say?
to laugh, and I don't mean that to laugh at him. He did make some comments on some of my videos. If you are watching this, man, keep fighting. Uh,
Yes, sir,
somebody,
brother.
somebody's saying on this, did you party harder than Roddy Piper? I don't think you did. Actually, that'd be my guess.
Well, I didn't. Every time that Roddy and I partied, he would smoke weed and get real quiet, you know. And you know, if I smoked a little bit of the weed, then I also chase it with some, you know, Jack Daniels, and I'm out the door. And Rod, he would always call it the Book of Rod. Well, in the Book of Rod, that's not bad at all. There's nothing wrong with what Jannetty does. In the Book of Rod, he called it the Book of Rod, which I guess is how, you know, he perceives life. But he, I mean, did he do other things? I'm not. You know, I don't want his family to see this and hear this, but well, I mean, I'm sure other people have said, yeah. But he was really conservative. To me, he was a conservative partier. He was really measured. You know, he didn't make no bonehead moves. Except that night he got Sean in a fight, but against each other. But yeah, Roddy was the cool, laid back, relaxed partier. You know, whereas my sorry ass and Sean somewhere in between the two. But you know, all out. I always think of the Nasty Boys, especially Knobs. You know, just all out. You know, when I think about the nights, the party nights we all did together, many nights, many nights. Yeah,
I
remember, man, we was on the road 300 days a year. And like in Sean and I's case, and when the Nasties were around, they were always with us, Nasty Boys. Um, we partied, we figured right at 290 days a year. And that's a lot of partying, not to get liver cancer or something, because that's a lot of drinking. It's a lot of
Now,
drinking.
I interviewed Johnny Fairplay last night, who was Piper's assistant for a year, and he mentioned, I asked him if anything ever happened between him and Piper because he was a young blonde-haired
Yeah.
boy at the time, and he said no, but he did say that Piper would always keep unusual assistants with him. Did you notice that about Piper, that he always had
Yes, I did. And honestly, shoot, I don't know who all is going to hear this, but it's not a secret. It's been said many times before. I've mentioned it a couple of times that a handful of other people who heard, the only ones there were me, Sean, and Roddy, and 3 girls from Denver, which were pretty much all my friends. The whole reason Sean and I got in a fight that night was because Roddy was, I don't want to say stirring the pot, because I don't think he was doing that. I think he was being sincerely loving Sean. We were 3 of us in a little group. The 3 girls are sitting on the bed. You know, this is kayfabe era, right? We're not supposed to be talking business in front of fans, you know. But he keeps telling Sean how great he is, and he's this, and he's just grabbing him by the hair and just rubbing his hands through his hair and pulling him in real close. And then he turned to me like, we got to work on you a little bit. You're still rough around the edges. Back and forth with that, back and forth. That's about the 3rd or 4th time. I'm like, Roddy, we got girls in the room. Should we be talking business? And Sean gave me a shove. Don't you disrespect Roddy. And that went wrong from there. But prior to that happening, included with all this love fest that he had for Sean, he was walking Sean towards, Sean's kind of backing away, and Roddy's walking in, you know, and until Sean gets to the wall, now he's stuck. He can't back up no more. And the girls who were to the side, I'm behind, and I can just see Roddy's back, and he's got Sean pinned up against the wall. Compliments, you know, nothing aggressive, but he reached in like to give him a kiss. I guess I thought on the cheek, and then I heard Sean. You heard Sean say, "I am a man," you know. He did it to Roddy. But the girls later said when Roddy reached in like that, he kissed and stuff. They said you could see tongue going in Sean's mouth. And so I'm like, I've heard things, but now I witnessed it from the backside. They sat the side view, so I couldn't see the whole tongue action and all that. But I got no doubt about it. I'm not calling them a liar.
There's a video online. I don't know if Roddy ever told you this, where Roddy is like talking about some traumatic thing that happened with him and Pat Patterson when he was young. Did Roddy ever tell you that, or did you even see that online? Yeah.
No,
I did hear Roddy say a story that Lord Alfred Hayes once tapped him on the back of the head with his.
Really?
Yeah. I guess
the only
Alfred
thing
had a big one, I guess.
You know, I guess, yeah, there was a handful. It was like when Sean and I first got
The
there,
dressing rooms were different back then. There was a lot of stuff that wouldn't. The dressing rooms back then had a lot of stuff that wouldn't fly today, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And cell phones changed a lot too.
Yeah.
You know,
Dusty Rhodes would walk around in cowboy boot, nothing but cowboy boots.
Yeah,
too.
and you know, Kurt Hennig was so funny, Mr. Perfect. I always talk about him because we all were so close. You know, all broke in AWA days. You know, Kurt had a head start with his dad, of course. But yeah, you'd be sitting there in your chair or on the bench, you know, in the dressing room, and it seems like a lot of old timers do that. Bob Brown used to do it. Bulldog Bob Brown. Dustin, Dusty. I'm sorry, I keep saying Dustin, but it was somebody else. But they're the old timers. They would do that. They would get naked and put on their shoes, like Bulldog Bob Brown would have little penny loafers. Dustin with his boots. I forgot what the Nick Bockwinkel. Nick would wear some like penny loafer things, butt ass naked, except for the shoes. Walking around, you're sitting there, right? So when they're standing, what's right there dangling in your face? You know, Kurt Hennig with Nick Bockwinkel one time, he punched him, not like knockout punch, but like that's all it takes in the balls for a guy. Just he punched him right between them before Nick bent over double. Get the fuck out of my face with that, Nick. Because they'd walk up and give you the finish, which they're supposed to do. And sitting there with their shit dangling right here, just practically beating up on your nose. It's like, damn, what the hell is with these old school guys with that shit? What the hell used to happen in dressing rooms?
I remember Luke telling me that Butch once stuck his dick in front of Adrian Street's face and said, talking to the microphone, and Adrian Street kissed it. And I was like, is this the dressing rooms of that era?
Oh boy. Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that story.
No, I haven't. I'm sad that I did now.
Tony Atlas actually told me the first time Tony Atlas met Ric Flair was completely naked. And he was like, hey, nice to meet
that
you.
wasn't unusual.
Yeah. That was in the dressing room, though. So I guess it was just like a different era. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, the old school guys, I mean, I don't want to put their way down because that was their way, but that wasn't working for us, man. It was like, nah, come on, man. I don't need your dick and balls bouncing off my chin.
Then you had someone's bringing up Lanny Poffo. He'd be in the corner sucking himself off while everyone's
actually. It was a popular story that he could do that, but one night in somewhere in Texas, I don't know, Houston, whatever it was. We're the last few in the dressing room, and somebody hollered over at Lanny, hey, I heard you could suck your own. Lanny, and they were like, no, show us. Can you do it still? Show them. And Lanny's like, well, let me warm up. And he starts doing these stretches, like twisting, doing all these stretches. We're like, what the fuck? And then he gets... And he's stretching his wing. He's like he's stirring a pot of butter. And then he goes, and he got down. He got probably as much as a helmet in his mouth. And all the boys are like, God damn. And Hogan is walking by. And he's like, what's going on in here, guys? Lanny just put his dick in his mouth. Hulk was so disgusted. He goes, here I am trying to help the guy.
What's Randy doing during all of this? Is he he's in his own dressing room with Elizabeth, or is he encouraging this? Because I can't.
No, Randy actually distanced himself from Lanny. I mean, I don't know out of spite or anger or disgust or anything like that. I think both of them were tight on money. I mean, when I say tight on it, they wouldn't spend a dime they didn't need to. When as Lanny would say, that's why my bank account's so big. But Lanny would actually
did him a lot of good in the end. All of that savings that he would always brag. Well, I knew him well. He never shut up about how long he was going to live. And how he would make fun of people like you.
Yeah. He said that because he goes, Jannetty would have mandatory parties before going out, not before the show. And we had, it wasn't mandatory, but it was, everybody would come by my room or mine and Sean's room to get primed up before going out, and Lanny said it was mandatory. It wasn't no mandatory, but he said, I never attended any of those parties, and that's why I'm wealthy, healthy, and something else. And it's, like you said, it's sad
Absolutely.
now that he's gone. You know, he was living in Ecuador, and him and I, we were okay with each other. We never any bad ill wills or nothing, but we started talking a lot after our careers were, on he's done and I'm pretty much done. But he was telling me to move down to Ecuador. He was saying, I'll get you set right up, Marty. Don't worry about it. I'll find a place for you and everything. And I started thinking about it. Like, I wouldn't mind getting the hell out of here. And Ecuador, the women are pretty nice.
That's why he
Again, there's
moved
my
there,
life.
right? That's the whole reason why he went there was for the
Yeah.
girls.
Yeah. And he was telling me, he told me that. He says, Marty, he says, the women don't care about your age here. You're American. That's all they care about. So I'm like, well, I'm in. I'm in. And I mean, I started talking to him about, and he was going to find me a place and all. And then next day I get the phone call, he passed, which was sad, And Lanny was a good brother.
The thing I liked about Lanny, and I used him a lot when I used to promote, I found him entertaining because he would hit on everything. And I'm sure you saw this too. He didn't care if it was a 10 out of 10, a 1 out of 10, a 70-year-old, an
When he
18-year-old.
when we were on the road all the time, he really he wasn't a girl chaser. That had to come to see, come to be as the later in his years. Because when he was on the road, shit, I mean,
He was
wouldn't.
married. I mean, he admitted cheating on his wife, but he would have been married during part of the time he was in WWE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of relaxed, conservative type. He he just he almost frowned on the guy's party, and like I said, he was healthy, wealthy, and whatever else that for the guys that like because he didn't party with us all the time. But it's funny. He goes, I never attended one of the mandatory parties, and I was like, well, nobody invited you, bitch.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I like
I
Lanny.
liked him and I gave him a lot of paydays, but his whole I'm gonna live to be 100 or die trying. He was overbearing with how good he was and always
Yeah,
bragging about it. So I found it ironic that he did. He also did. He let himself go. If you remember when Macho Man first died, he lost all that weight and he said he was
yeah,
gonna dedicate himself to living old. And then it lasted a couple years. Then you could see he was putting on a bit of weight again. But anyways, God bless him. He didn't
yeah.
believe he would call God the invisible man in the sky. So
Is
maybe
that what he
maybe
called
that, yeah, that's what he would call him. I
it?
mean, maybe that's why he didn't last too long. Maybe God wasn't on his side.
I
Who
don't
knows?
know. I keep my cat Mustafa had told me he's already up in heaven. What do they call it? Rainbow Bridge up there for the animals. I don't know. I had a dream or whatever it was. I saw him and he said, "Nah, you don't get here till you're 102." And then I guess I woke up and I'm like, That's never left me. 102 years old." And I feel like if I can get my ankles right and get all this blood infection out, I probably will do 102. At this point right now, the way shit's going, I don't know that I want it. I don't want another 38 years like this, 37 years like this. But yeah,
You'll be all right. You just need that newer Rockers team in AEW to get one of those $600,000 a year contracts.
that's amazing to me. I can't believe that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Give here. Tell you what. Give Jake a call. Get confirmation on that, and we'll have you back again soon, and we'll do this again. But where can people follow you? Someone was asking about your Facebook. Your
Well,
Facebook is shut down, right?
yeah, evidently, I used to party. And sometimes I would drink too much and say too much on the Facebook. Evidently, that happened again because I don't know what happened. I actually asked them. I actually tried to got in touch with them to say like, well, because normally when they suspend you or take you down for a month or whatever it is, a week, 10 days, they tell you, they show you what you did. And this goes against community standards. So I had no idea. I had a rough week, and I had a few drinks, bottles, and there's no telling. But I wanted to know, like, what was it though? Can I see it? They always in the past would show. This time they didn't show, and they said, if you want to appeal, appeal here. But if we deny your appeal, we'll delete your account. Well, there was no way of me writing like I'm not trying to appeal. I just want to know what it was. Well, they didn't give you that option. It's just either appeal or not. That's it. So I thought, well, I gotta find out what's up and try to get my account back. So I hit the appeal button. That's not what I wanted, but that was the only option left. Never heard nothing. My account just disappeared. It was gone. So I'm still going to try to get it back because I had too much of a following on there, especially for doing these podcasts. I got the party with Marty still going. I just started back, because I just don't see the need to, not the need, but it just don't make sense to do something I can't advertise about. If I got 50,000 people that I can advertise to, and get a fraction of that, well, I'm advertising to somebody. But now I who am I advertising? I'm going to go outside and yell at the neighbors, "Hey, my show's coming on in a minute." It just seems senseless. But I really do want to get it back going. So I got that one. You and I are talking about.
Speaking of which, you sent me a few notes yesterday of stuff you wanted to bring up in the podcast. Should I bring those up?
I'm scared. What is it?
No, I'm not going to. But yeah, you might.
Is it bad?
Yes.
Oh, it's not. I don't write nothing bad.
Anyways, I'm sorry for interrupting you there. I was just looking at them, and yeah.
Give me one of them. Let me hear one of them.
Those. We'll save them.
Oh, I know. What was it? Bitches with boobs. Bitches with boobs in the business.
It had to do with immigrants.
Oh boy. All right.
Anyways, where can they follow you now that you're shut down?
Well, I guess I'm gonna crank up again I guess this time I'll go with the real Marty Jannetty on Facebook. So the real Marty Jannetty. I'm still going on the Party with Marty podcast right now. Being Savage, co-host and producer, are on there every Thursday. Well, I think it comes on at 10. I'm not even sure, 10 or 11. No, 10. But for now, until I can adapt and adjust and adapt, we'll go with that. I'm going to try to get the Facebook back. Might not, so I have to start over. But yeah, that hit me up there. As I said, I guess this Thursday night I'll be on for the Party with Marty, 10 o'clock on the YouTube channel. My YouTube channel.
Where can they buy your merchandise?
What's that?
Where can they buy your merchandise?
Same put at the Party with Marty channel. We got a network set up there where you can go into the merchandise and all that. I just feel so bad, man. The site, losing the Facebook site. Ain't that crazy? Something so simple. What did it say? Have you talked to Sean lately? I think you guys need another reunion. You know what? We could actually do that. I'm still able to get one match in. I can't think of any wrestler alive that doesn't sit there and occasionally think, could I get one more match? Could I do one more? I'll do it this way. I'll be so gentle. I'll be so light. Can I get one more? But Sean and I could actually squeeze one in. That would be decent. It wouldn't be, two senior citizens trying to get through a couple minutes.
That would be good. I think you could actually be used again. You just gotta start appearing regularly with me too. Let's show people you're back to the old Marty, and I'm sure someone's gonna come a calling soon. Particularly if Vince starts back up, then there's 3 options.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that though. I got to see that happen because, like I said, he's starting back over. That's just like me with the Facebook thing. It's like, man, I had such a good following. Now you want me to go back to zero and build back up? That'd be the same thing for Vince. I mean, he's at WWE, and now you want me to start over with a new company at ground zero. But I mean, he might. Like I said, that's what he gets his jollies off of his work. So he might.
Someone's asking your favorite Guns N' Roses song. You're wearing the Guns N' Roses shirt.
When you're talking to yourself and no one is at home, you can talk to yourself. You came in this world alone. No, that's a crazy song. Strange, it's called, but it has to do with. It's really an inner struggle with yourself. I mean, it looks like you're talking to a girlfriend, but what did you say? A crack dealer?
Let's see that from a crack dealer. You're not a crack dealer, I can say that.
No, but I can hook you up.
I don't know who they're talking about there. Someone else is saying it's $15.
ATF. That's who they're with.
It's $15 apparently to appeal a meta decision on Facebook. Someone's saying.
Oh, so they found another way to make money. I'll be damned. Ain't that something?
Maybe that's
it'd be worth it though. It'd be worth $15 if I can get it back.
And here you go. You want me to bring this up? Here's the screenshot. Unless you already got the game plan, we could speak on bitches with boobs in the business. Or talk about how the bitches are now having better matches than the bastard. I would rather watch the girls' matches these days, honestly, because at least they're good looking. At least if it's gonna be bad, I want to. It's
good looking bad. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, the girls are so good today. I mean, hell, I've sat with Radical Addy, my moderator there for the show, and wife. We sit there and talk about, damn, the girls are outperforming the guys these days. It used to be a day when we were embarrassed when the girls would hit the ring. We're like, oh God, here it goes, and we like just peek at it. Shit, now it's a good show. They do better
Who's
than
your favorite?
A lot of the guys. What's that?
Who's your favorite of the girls?
I think Sasha Banks, but I'm not 100 on that. It could be somebody else.
She's in the 5 million club. She's in the 5 million club.
For a different reason.
Oh. Someone says you come into New Jersey anytime too for signings. Someone earlier was asking Toronto. Any signings coming up in these places?
In Jersey, it's supposed to be something coming up, but I don't have a book in front of me. But I think it's in June. Whatever fairly big WrestleCon type thing that they're having.
Did you really dive through the barbershop window to escape, like Bobby the Brain said?
Yeah, I was trying to get away, man. I was the hell with this. That damn super kick he hit me with. Oh yeah, I was trying to get away. He might try to do a second one. Let me get the hell out of here.
When was the last time you talked to him?
Oh, Sean?
Yeah.
Probably last time I saw him, which was about a year ago. And it was just, we were both at signings, which is ridiculous because he got people to come see him for Sean and then for what is it, Degeneration X, and then for his religion thing. So he gets a freaking mile long line. But yeah, we said, hey, it's always good to see each other,
And last question for today. I posted an interview the other day of Shane Douglas talking about how close he used to be with you and Sean, and he felt kind of betrayed in later years when the clique went against him. Was he really that close? Were you guys staying?
Him and I were.
Yeah.
Him and I were. I don't know necessarily Sean and him or Scott Hall or any of the guys were, but him and I were real close. We still are, when we see each other, we can't wait to hug up. But yeah, it was. I was there that night. It was dirty what they did to him. Scott Hall had a match with him, and then went to Vince and buried him. Saying, "Oh, he's not good. He's trying to do this. He's trying to do that." And I love Scott to death. God rest his soul. I love him to death. But he was not in the. in the realm of being able to critique a match. I mean, he was still making rookie mistakes, you know.
He
So for him to
told
go,
supposedly he told Shane that he was just ribbing him in the ring when he was going up heavy and making him look bad, and Shane was like, "If you're gonna rib me, do it behind the scenes. Don't do it on a pay-per-view."
well, yeah, during TV, during business. But yeah, and it, but like I said, then I heard and actually kind of saw where Scott took Vince aside to complain about, you know, Shane fucking up the match, which I hated that for Shane because Shane's a good brother, you know, and he's got nothing but love for anybody unless you screw him over, which they kind of did. Which I was surprised, though, in a way, surprised that Vince went for it. You know, you're going to take that one who's not quite all sure about the psychology of wrestling yet, and you're going to take his word. But, you know, that's the business.
Yeah, that's the politics of the business, sadly. Some of us
Yeah.
are better at it than others.
Yeah.
We're neither of us are very good at it. And this interview isn't going to help either of us either.
I know it. Damn it.
Although you didn't say anything bad about Sean.
No, I
Not going
didn't
to
know.
burn that bridge.
Yeah, well, there's nothing bad to say about him.
All right, sir. So I'll let you shut this down with whatever you want to tell the fans. Always fun chatting with you.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
man.
I was going to ask you. You had a quick story. I'm wearing the boxing shirt today. What were you going to tell me about Tommy Morrison before we went off the air?
Oh, yeah. Tommy was on the plane. We were leaving Kansas City. Tommy was back in the plane. And it was just all the wrestlers were around him. He was sitting back in the back, and there was like, I seen a bunch of guys back there. I'm like, what's going on? And I walked back there. And I was a big fan of his, you know. I mean, in fact, I thought before that Ray Mercer fight, he was on his way. And I think that just destroyed his mental when that fight happened. And it was like a punch. It was one punch got through and got him. But anyway, he was back there. He was hurting, just like all of us. You know, he'd been partying all night, and he was like, you could just see it. But he was so, you know, he liked all the boys. You know, he liked wrestling. He liked the boys, so he was all upbeat and, you know, cutting up. Even though you could tell he was like, I just want to get a quick nap. But yeah, man, he was a fun guy. He was fun, man. What did he die of? Didn't he get some?
He actually died of an infection. He went to jail,
Blood
the real reason that he passed, which is actually confirmed by the coroner, was an infection from a spider bite where it wasn't properly taken care of in the hospital.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something.
So yeah, I'll let you shut this down, buddy. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You know I love you.
Yeah, same here. I love you, and love all the people out there. Love you all. Let's keep rocking and rolling, strutting, strolling, slamming, jamming, moving and grooving, taking care of business, having good times from Austin to Boston and Maine to Spain and all points in between. Getting on that ass like white on rice, like spots on dice, like cold on ice. Love y'all. See it.